Welcome to the Candle Business Coach Podcast, a show about the craft of candle making and small business. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I'm a candle maker, mum of three, and kindness advocator. Join me as I dive into all things candles and small business and deliver advice and tips to you in episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Are you on the list to get my daily motivation emails? Every day I'll send you a message that is designed to help keep you focused on taking action toward your goals. Sign up using the link in the show notes. This episode is brought to you by my free ebook, the Candle Business Marketing Kickstarter Kit. Inside this free ebook, you'll learn to identify your blocks of time to dedicate to your candle business. Plus, there are several tips and tricks for re-engaging past customers and attracting new customers into your business so you can grow your business and reach your goals. Check out the link in the show notes for your copy. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. I hope you're having a beautiful day, no matter what day you're listening to this episode. I know for me, this episode will be released on a Tuesday morning, Australian time, but I have listeners all over the world, so you may be listening to this on a different day, or even in the evening or after work, or whenever you listen. I'm always curious to know who my listeners are, so if you have a second, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at Candle Business Coach, and let me know what you're up to, how your candle business is going, and how your journey is going as well. But on today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about a pretty prevalent topic or struggle that many of us have experienced, will experience, or may be experiencing right now. And that is the phenomenon known as imposter syndrome. So you may have heard this term floating around, or perhaps can relate to the feelings it invokes. But in case you don't know what imposter syndrome is, let me explain. So imposter syndrome is where you doubt your abilities and accomplishments and feel as though you are a fraud. Kind of heavy, I know, but it's important to bring light to the different mindset struggles we can experience, not just as candle makers, but just in our general day-to-day life as well. So let me give you a little history lesson. The term imposter syndrome was first coined in 1978 by psychologists Pauline Clancy and Suzanne Imes. They observed that many high-achieving women felt like frauds in their jobs and feared being exposed as incompetent. Now, since then, imposter syndrome has been found to affect people of all genders and identities, industries, and backgrounds. Now, it can have a significant impact on your mental and emotional well-being, as well as your career and your personal life. And some of the common symptoms of imposter syndrome include self-doubt, fear of failure, perfectionism, procrastination, a lack of self-confidence. Does that sound relatable? I know for me, when I was researching this episode topic, as I was learning more about imposter syndrome and where the term came from and what the symptoms and effects are, I could relate to them in more ways than one. So a story I'd like to share with you is when I made my first candle sale from a stranger off the internet through my website. On one hand, I was really excited. I knew that I knew that the customer had visited my website a few times before purchasing, and when they purchased the candle, I was excited because it meant that my branding was on point, my messaging and the images and the type of description that I used was enough and was perfect for this customer to feel connected in with my brand, and so they made that purchase. But then the thoughts of, what if my candle's not good enough? What if it's not perfect? What if it's not what they were expecting? All these sorts of thoughts started to circulate through my mind. And rather than doing what I should, air quotes, should have done, was packing their order straight away because I had the candle there, it was already made, I was able to send it off. Instead, I procrastinated because I was worried about what they might think of the candle when they received it. What if they were disappointed? What if they didn't purchase again? What if it wasn't enough? And to be honest, I didn't realize this was imposter syndrome at the time. It was only when I looked back, I was able to recognize it for what it was. And so I'm curious if you've experienced anything like that before. And if you have, share with me on Instagram so we can talk through our experiences together and hopefully overcome any future occurrences. So Imposter syndrome can lead to a lack of motivation and a fear of failure, which I mentioned before, and that can prevent you from taking risks and pursuing your goals. Now, this is really important because it can limit your potential for growth and development, both personally and professionally with your business. And what that means is if you're experiencing imposter syndrome and you think that you're not good enough, your products aren't enough, you're not feeling motivated, and you feel that fear of failure, try saying that 5 times really fast, you're less likely to take action in the direction of your goals, which is huge. It means that you're not able to reach your goals faster because you're feeling that imposter syndrome. It can also lead to negative self-talk and a tendency to focus on your weaknesses rather than your strengths. And this can lead to a distorted sense of reality in which you perceive yourself as less competent than you actually are, which is incredible to think that our minds would play these sorts of tricks on us and get us to stay stagnant rather than making changes and taking action. So in case it's not clear, I want to highlight to you how this can apply to you, the candle maker. Have you ever stopped yourself from posting something on social media because you were afraid of what others may think? Have you ever started going down a negative thought pattern spiral of who are you to think you can make candles that people will buy? You know, that inner mean girl. Or perhaps you didn't allow yourself to reach out to someone to collaborate with, fearing rejection or then potentially questioning your ability. Yep, you guessed it. That, my friend, is imposter syndrome. So I've got another example for you, another story of when I felt imposter syndrome. And this time it was when I had my first market stall and I'd set up my stall. I was ready to sell. I was excited on one hand, but also nervous as well. And then the first few people that came to my stall started asking me questions about my candles. Now, these questions were all within my knowledge, all within my ability to answer with confidence. But the thoughts of, what if I don't answer this question in the right way? What if I don't purchase this candle? My palms were sweating, my heart was racing. It could have been confused, or it could have been identified as anxiety. It definitely wasn't a panic attack. It wasn't that extreme. But again, looking back, I realized that how I was feeling and what I was thinking, in that I would be found out as being a fraud, for example, meant that I wasn't taking the right action I wasn't taking the right action in my answers to be able to communicate effectively with my customers, and that potentially led to loss of sales, which is not great, but it's a learning experience nonetheless. So the hardest part of overcoming any mindset challenge is first becoming aware of it. Once you have that self-awareness, you can then begin the journey of recognizing it when it arises, and this includes imposter syndrome. So I wanted to talk through some ways that you can actually overcome it. There are several ways. There's actually a few that I'm going to go through today with you. But there are several ways to overcome different mindset struggles and build a more positive and resilient mindset. So, number 1, recognizing and challenging negative thoughts. Recognizing when negative thoughts and feelings arise is the first step in managing them. Once you become aware of them, you can challenge and reframe them in a more positive light. Number 2, practicing gratitude. Focusing on what you are grateful for can help shift your perspective from negative to positive. So you can keep a gratitude journal and write down things that you are grateful for each day. And that can be a really helpful tool just to help turn your mindset more positive rather than focusing on the negative. The next one is setting realistic goals. So setting realistic and achievable goals can help you feel a sense of accomplishment and boost your confidence. So to do that, look at your big audacious goals and break them into small manageable steps, ones that you can complete either on a daily or weekly basis or on a regular basis, so you're feeling that momentum and feeling that success. You also want to build a support system, and having a supportive network of friends, family, or professionals can provide valuable perspective and encouragement. So I don't know if I've shared much on the podcast in the past, but I personally have seen a counsellor or a therapist to help me through some personal struggles I was going through. But once we got to the root of those issues and helped move past them, I still continued to see my therapist because I found that it was beneficial in helping me stay above baseline and helping me grow in different ways and in different circumstances. So that's something that I would always recommend, no matter what mindset struggles you're experiencing. Speaking to someone that's got the got an objective ear but is still caring of you is a great way to have that support around you. Engaging in self-care is also really critical in helping your mindset be a bit more positive. So prioritizing self-care activities such as exercise, healthy eating, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, things like that can help improve your overall well-being and reduce stress as well. So mindfulness and meditation is huge also. Mindfulness and meditation practices can help you focus on the present moment and reduce negative thoughts and feelings because you're not worried about the future and you're not reminiscing about any past things that have happened that you can't change or control. Learning from failure is also really important. So failure is a natural part of life and it's important to see it as an opportunity to learn and grow. So instead of dwelling on your mistakes, you can instead focus on what you can do differently next time and learn from the experience rather than having that as a permanent roadblock. The next one is celebrating successes. So it's important to celebrate your successes no matter how small they are, and this will help you appreciate your progress and achievements along the way, and it also helps to build self-confidence. And the last strategy that you can help overcome different mindset struggles is to recognize and embrace your unique strengths, skills, and talents, and focus on what you actually do bring to the table. This will help you build self-confidence and overcome feelings of that pesky imposter syndrome. Now, it's important to note that these strategies may not work for everyone and that it may take time to find the strategies that work best for you, but that's just a part of life. We go through learning and discovering what works for us, and what works for you now might not work in the future, and what doesn't work now may work in the future. So it's worth exploring different ways that you can help bring in the most positive mindset possible. And also, mindset struggles are complex and it probably requires a combination of different strategies to overcome as well. That's actually one of the reasons I recommend working with a coach or a mentor such as myself, someone that can help you uncover your blind spots and help guide you to a freer mindset. It's about prioritizing your growth and knowing that you are worthy of the journey. So I'd love to connect on Instagram via DM. I'll mention it again at Candle Business Coach. If you've experienced imposter syndrome in the past, or if it's something that you're working through at the moment, I'd love to help talk through what you're experiencing and give you some guidance and support. And please know that my DMs and my community on socials is a safe, inclusive space, and there's never any judgment. My motto is always collaboration and community over competition. So even though, most of my listeners are fellow candle makers, and I'm so grateful for that, I want you to know that even though I'm a candle maker as well, I'm still going to be your cheerleader and support network if that's what you're looking for as well. So if you're interested in exploring how I can help you or the ways that I can work with you, whether that's in a one-on-one capacity or in a group coaching program, such as my online course called Candlecraft, send me a DM and we can book in a free 15-minute chat to see where you're at, if we're aligned, and how I can help you as well. So know that I'm always here for you no matter what. My goal has always been with this podcast to build a community of candle makers that support and love each other and just want to give the best to each other. And that's why I'm also considering, it's in the works, is a retreat. I haven't mentioned this on the podcast yet, but I wanted to mention it in this episode. So I put out a question on my Instagram asking if people would be interested in attending a candle makers retreat. So it would be in Australia. I haven't worked out exactly where it will be yet or any of the fine details, but I envision it being a group of beautiful women. Don't have to be beautiful. You know what I mean? Beautiful souled women, kind-hearted women, where we get together and we talk through how we can grow our businesses and support each other, maybe do a little yoga, a little meditation, have time for self-reflection and contemplation, eat lots of yummy food, and just make beautiful connections with other candle makers. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in as well, I'd love to know so that I can get some numbers together and work out some of the finer details. So yeah, send me a DM on Instagram just with the word retreat, and then I'll know that you're interested in that as well. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you found this episode valuable. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions regarding imposter syndrome or anything else that I've discussed on the podcast. So have a beautiful day and I will talk to you soon. Thanks everyone for listening today. I hope this episode added value to your candle making journey. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout today's show, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for listening. Have a beautiful day.